Hello, my name is Mr. Sonnen, and thank you for joining us for our virtual back to school night. This semester, I'm teaching two courses. One of them is an honors biology class. I have two sections of that, and then also a general biology as well. In this short presentation, I'll be covering a little bit of the details for both of those courses. And there will be details that you can also find on Schoology that if you want to look on your own, you can get more details. The first one I'm going to start with is on Schoology in both the regular biology class and the honors biology class. There is a folder with just general course information. In both courses, you can find the syllabus as well as other details about the course, such as grading and how the topics are outlined in the course of the semester. There's also information about accessing the online textbook, which I'll talk about a little bit later. You might also notice that when you examine the folders for my courses, I have them broken down into some resource folders for each of the chapters, as well as weekly folders for the items that we're going to be using in class. Within each week, I have it broken down by day, and then within the day, there's a list of items that we're doing in the class on that particular date. Almost every block will start with attendance. Once we're back full time, we'll most likely do the online attendance just on Wednesdays. And I've been using a Google Meet as well for the remote days and for when the students are working from home. You might notice in some days that there might be a number of items that are posted, and I do that so that the students can kind of break up the workload into more usable and maybe user-friendly format as opposed to one large assignment with multiple parts to it. I often break it up into a couple of smaller assignments, each of which then I'll check in either for completion or for a grade. When you look at the course and the syllabus, the grading for each marking period is going to be based on four main categories. Classwork and homework are together. Depending on if it's the general bio or the honors class, that's between 5 and 10% of their class grade. There's also lab grades, which are usually graded through a lab report that is often done individually, whereas the lab itself might be performed as a group. In most cases, they have their own individual lab reports to submit. And most of my submissions for these things are going to be through Schoology. We also have what we're referring to this semester as a topic summary. Basically, it's like a notebook check. At the end of a chapter or unit, we kind of go through the main ideas and have the students submit evidence that they've completed activities or reinforcement type activities on those topics. And we do that in preparation for a quiz or an exam. And the last main category is tests and quizzes. In my course, we will be quizzing just about once a week. Now, the quizzes will always be announced, and I usually list the topics that the quiz will include in the calendar as a reminder. Quizzes can be retaken if the students did not get a score that they're comfortable with. We encourage anyone who gets lower than a 60% to re-quiz, but in the middle of the pack, or even students with B's or C's, they can re-quiz if they want to. For the re-quizzes, we do have a cap at a 70%. So when they re-quiz, there is a limit to how much of an improvement they can see in Power School. That's for the honors classes and for the general biology. For the exams, they often include more than 2 chapters. And for the exams, we do allow retesting. but that would only be in the case of a student who had a failing grade on the original exam, and that also would be capped at a 70%, a C minus. There is no final exam in the course this year, and that's due to the Keystone exam being administered. And I believe in spring this year, the window of time is the end of May, probably those last 2 full weeks in May, or when the Keystone exam would be given. It's 2 days, and we do take a good bit of class time prior to that to review and make sure that they're well prepared for the Keystone assessments. When you look at the other items that are on Schoology, you will notice that there are those resource folders. In there, I might have copies of PowerPoints that were used in class. In some cases, there might be answer keys for items that were completed before and submitted, and then they can come in and check their grades. And then lastly, I would also like to point out that in the beginning of the course, they received access information for an online textbook. We do have older editions of books that can be signed out, but the new edition, we only have a classroom set of about 30 textbooks, and we usually keep those here in the room. So they're free to use those either during class or during focus, but we don't send those home with the students. The online book is available through the Pearson website. Every student received a login, username, and password. The directions for accessing this are in that resource folder for each of the courses. If you look at each chapter, they're broken down into lessons, which are basically each section of each chapter. There's lots of resources available here. The e-text is going to be the actual textbook online. Sometimes this can take a while to load if they're trying to access this from home. There is an adaptation for students that might be English language learners or students with IEPs related to reading. There is an audio function.
Lesson 2.2, Properties of Water. Key questions.
And that feature will actually read aloud the contents of each page, and then if they advance to the next page, there will be another one of those icons for playing the content on that page. So that's a resource we have that's available, especially if they're doing any work from home and don't have access to the resource room or a learning support teacher. At the end of the course, we have the next pathway that the students would be leading into as far as their science classes are concerned would most likely be either chemistry or chemistry in the community. And as a general rule, we expect the honors students, especially the ninth graders who are in honors, that they're directed into chemistry as their next science course. For the general biology, we generally would ask them what their goals might be as far as their career or their education outside of high school. Any student that is college bound, especially a four-year college, we strongly recommend chemistry. And if they're not considering a four-year college and looking at maybe a trade school or a two-year program, then have to kind of look at what kind of interest they have and what they might want to be going into, and then evaluate if they think chemistry would be suitable, or if the applied chemistry class, chemistry in the community, would be a better choice. Typically, if we look at just academics alone, any student with an A or B in biology should be able to handle the workload of the chemistry class, and students in the lower C range, maybe chemistry in the community, and mid C to upper C's, those students most likely would be successful no matter which of those courses they're going to take. If you'd like to get a hold of me, you can contact me through my email address, dsonnen@cocalico.org, or through Schoology messages as well. And I'm available after school if anyone would like to make a phone call and talk to me personally as well. we can do that. So again, thank you for logging in, and please let me know if you have any questions or concerns.